And another one. What's up, y'all? Hit that like, share, subscribe. I mean, get the page to grow. You already know. Um, this topic. Yeah, every time I cover this kind of topic, it's funny because, these people have power and they're growing power by the day. Um, by the second, I don't even know how you want to even look at it. Stupid camera. I hate this camera sometimes. Anyway, yeah, so apparently, I'm seeing things talking about the baby gets canceled from the LGBT group or whatever. I don't know exactly if he's canceled. I don't know if you could sit there and really say his career is over or anything like that. But the LGBTQ IA, whatever other letters they add on to it, and that alone might offend people. But I mean, let's be real. Every time I turn around, there's a new letter added to the group. The LGBTQ is just like the base name for the group. There's so many letters that's added on all the time. So, that's why I say alphabet crew. You know, it's not really to offend. It's just that's how I like to categorize things sometimes. Um, but it seems like they seem to get offended by every little thing, and they actually becoming worse than the Jews. And I know I get a lot of flack for that too. If I had a big channel, I'd get a lot of flack for both talking about LGBTQ and the Jews or whatever. But it's the truth is the truth. It's like you can't say any little thing, even like when it comes to the Jews. If you say any little thing, it doesn't even have to be necessarily bad. It doesn't even have to say. It doesn't have to really be anything coming out of character when it comes to them or whatever. But you just mention anything pertaining to the Jews and pertaining to the Jews, and it's not something that they like or something that they want to hear. They're after you. It's the same thing now with the LGBTQ. Now, the baby did a performance. He did a performance not too long ago, and he, in between songs, he sat there and he said, put a lighter up for those who don't have HIV/AIDS and so on and so forth. Now that is very insensitive to people who are struggling with that, and are already ashamed for having it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. They were so promiscuous and everything like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that, because all it takes is one time. It could be that one wrong person that they sat there and trusted and got it from. So that's a very sensitive subject. So I agree with people against him on that, because that was very insensitive for him to say. But then he also says to all the homeboys, if you ain't been sucking um, sucking in the parking lot, put your lighters up or whatever the case may be. And apparently that blew off the LGBTQ community or whatever.
You didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone light in the air. Lady, if your pussy smell like water, put a cell phone light in the air. Fellas,
lights up.
Fellas, if you ain't sucking nigga dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air.
Let's be real about this shit.
Here's where it's crazy for me, because he didn't necessarily mention the LGBTQ community. I guess it's reasonable assumption. It's a reasonable assumption to believe that he was, directing that comment towards them, being that, if you're a man and you're sucking dick, you're a gay. So, but Here's my problem with it. Even though it might be a little, touchy, it might be sensitive or whatever, he's representing what he feels. Same way they want to represent what they feel, he's representing what he feels. So he feels he's a heterosexual man, and he's speaking out to the heterosexual men. And he's speaking out to the heterosexual men, because there are men who are down low. They're into that thing because they're in and out of jail, and they get a taste of that life, and they come out and they portray like they are full heterosexuals, but they're not. So, I mean, I guess he was speaking directly to the main heterosexuals. I mean, all in all, there shouldn't be a problem with that, because if we truly have free speech, right, there shouldn't be a problem with that. He didn't sit there and directly um, come at the LGBTQ community. He didn't directly sit there and say anything that was really offensive. He just sat there and said, "Hey, if you wasn't out there sucking dick, then put your lighters up." Now, is he wrong for saying that? I'm not gonna agree with him saying that, because I surely wouldn't say that. But at the same time, I feel like it's wrong to sit there and talk about canceling him because he sat there and said what he felt at his show. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how, you could sit there and say all kinds of disparaging things against us or whatever. We could say all kinds of disparaging things against each other. We could talk about shooting each other, killing each other, popping at whatever, you know what I'm saying? And nobody bats an eye. The minute somebody sits there and says, well, I mean, if you're a guy and you ain't sucking no dick, it's a problem. And, for those who are used to me toning down the language, I apologize, but I'm not going to keep on, like, kind of censoring myself when I'm talking about this. So, I mean, the power they have is really amazing to me, because ultimately, if you do the statistics, they make up a small population. I mean, a small percentage of the population, but yet it is growing. And that small percent of the population has so much control. But then again, look at the rich. The rich make up a small percent of the population, but they have so much control over this country. So, I mean, you do the math, you tie the two together. That means a lot of rich people are in that LGBTQ community, and that's why they have power. Money talks. They have the money, so they could sit there and have the power to sit there and say, "Hey, look, we don't like this person. We're gonna sit there and we're gonna shut them down." Or, this person is for our community, so we're gonna sit there and do everything to raise them up. I.e., Little Nas X, who who seems to have, they seem to have no problem. Like, somebody brought out a point. Like, back in the day, you couldn't have certain things in videos and things like that, and if it was, it would have like a rated R rating, or PG-13, or whatever the case may be. It would let you know this is not for kids or whatever. But at the same time, now you got Little Nas X dancing butt naked with a bunch of men for absolutely no reason. I mean, it was just you can't tell me it wasn't done for nothing more than shock value, because it had nothing to do with the song. There was no reason to put that scene in there, but there we go. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you have that scene in there, and any child could sit there and be on YouTube and see that. Now it goes back into the whole thing of, oh well, if they watch it, that doesn't mean they're gonna turn gay or whatever. Stop with that, because a child's mind is not fully developed to the point where they can differentiate things in their mind. You know what I'm saying? They can differentiate the propaganda that's being put towards them, to in comparison to reality, or what their minds think naturally. You know what I'm saying? So don't come with that. Yes, some of them will be without that. That is true. But others, I solely believe are being convinced because I mean, like, look, for instance, growing up as a teenager, you know, as a teenager, you go through different stages. You don't even know what the freak is like. You don't even know. You don't know even the gist of your body. You think you do, or whatever. You don't even know how to even have sex. All you know is you stick the thing in, whatever the case may be, and you think you're doing something. You don't even really know the full extent of it, or how to please your partner. You don't know nothing about that. You don't even learn nothing about that because you just worried about the rites of passage. But anyway, I say that to say this: that when you're a child, when you're a teenager, you have a lot of hormones going on. You don't even know. You even when you have little high school sweethearts or whatever, you swear up and down this is the one, and y'all two are gonna sit there and get married and live the rest of y'all lives together, whatever. Next thing you know, y'all grow apart and y'all wind up not even talking to each other as an adult or whatever the case may be. So, you know, that a child's mind is not fully developed at a point where they could sit there and say, well, yeah, this is what I like and this is what I whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, you didn't have, and granted, it was taboo to come out, whatever, but you still had those who were out, because when I grew up I knew about gays. You know what I'm saying? How else would I know about it if there wasn't some people that was out? There wasn't some people that was bold about it. You know what I mean? But you didn't have all these teenagers sitting, all these teenage girls being lesbians. You didn't have all these teenage boys, switching and talking certain ways and wearing clothes a certain way. You didn't have all that. Why is it you have it now? Why is it you have it now? I mean, think about it. And I know, people in the LGBTQ community will sit there and argue me down about it, or whatever the case may be, and they'll call me homophobic, which I hate that freaking word, homophobic. There's nobody homophobic. There's nobody fearing you. There's nobody sitting there hating you to the point where they're killing. Yes, there are some ignorant people that have gone that far or whatever, but those same ignorant people are the same ones that would be willing to kill us because we're black. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't diminish what happened, but it's a small population of the people who go that far. Okay? Now, just because somebody doesn't agree with the community, somebody doesn't agree with that lifestyle, doesn't make them homophobic. That's nonsense. All right? It doesn't. Homophobic. That's a word that y'all made up, because that word did not exist until what, the 20th century, 21st century, if the 20th century. You know what I'm saying? That word did not exist. All right? And phobia is more associated with fear than hate or anything like that. They twist that phobia around so they can sit there and keep playing the narrative. Oh, you're homophobic. You're homophobic. You're homophobic. No, we're not. And it's so crazy how, especially if you're a star, you have to sit there and say, well, I'm not with this. But you have to sit there and really word it properly, so that it doesn't offend and people don't come at you trying to attack your career and take money out your pockets. It's so crazy how you have to really tiptoe around trying to stand firm on your stance, but at the same time, and let me not say it this way, because I don't want them coming at me. I still got some endorsements, and I know they're part of that crew and this and that. What I don't want to lose my endorsement is you shouldn't have to fear that. But unfortunately, because we don't own anything and we're still, under contract with the powers that be, we have to sit there and succumb to whatever they want us to do. And this goes back into ownership. I wish I could own it, because I would go into own it. But I mean, I have to work real hard, make some investments, da da da. But the stars are already there. You already have millions in the bank. You already have, you already have money to flip. You can make all kinds of different investments and make the right move so that you don't have to be beholden to massa. You can sit there and start your own. I don't get it. And maybe there's a lot more behind the scenes that we don't know. But all I know is, me personally, I would get in the game just to make enough money to flip it and invest it, and so that I can get right back out the game and start my own little thing. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand why a lot haven't done that. We could have our own media. We could have our own record labels and whatever the case may be. We could have um, um, our own YouTube, our own Instagram. We could have that, but we don't. And so that we're beholden to them. Like, even as we make these videos, it gets to the right person's ear, or the wrong person's ear, depending on which way you look at it. If it gets to their ears or whatever, they can sit there and take your whole channel down. They could sit there and take the YouTube could take the videos off, because you create the content, but once you upload it to YouTube, it's their property. So they could sit there and do what they want with it. If they don't like your message, they could do whatever they want. But like I said before, I could sit there and say end this, be that, I'm gonna kill you, shoot you, pop, beat, bun. You know what I'm saying? Leave you dead in the ground, leave you a sound. You know what I'm saying? I could say all kinds. Yeah, forget I don't know how to freestyle, so don't laugh at me. Anyway, I write rhymes. I don't freestyle. I never freestyle. But yeah, we could say all kinds of things against each other and all kinds of violent natures or whatever, and it's okay. But the minute you sit there and say something wrong about a Jew, you say something wrong about the alphabet crew, and they coming at you. Now, I don't agree with what the baby said. I don't agree with it at all, especially the HIV/AIDS thing. But at the same time, um, it's his show, and if we have this freedom of speech, you know what I'm saying, he should be able to say that without getting a whole bunch of flack about it. Yeah, I mean, you could not like it. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? You can have an opinion about it. That's fine. But to sit there and go, oh, he got to be stopped, he got to be canceled, what, because of that one little thing he said, that makes no sense to me. You know, and apparently, like, I also seen that.
Top of the top, top of the top. So, I guess, what I'm saying, social media is full of confusion. And words are often misconstrued. And to be honest with you, if homosexuals have more right than heterosexual people, just say that. Homosexuals have more rights than heterosexual people, then just say that. Let's let that be the law. Is that the law? Because I feel like I respect gays, especially the ones who have the courage and the bravery to step out and live in their truth. You know what I mean? I respect that. I got a lot of respect for motherfuckers like Lil Nas X and motherfuckers like Frank Ocean. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers who step out there and live their truth. Honest with themselves. You dig? A lot of you motherfuckers out there hiding your truth. And that's the whole shit. You get the energy you put out there. You can't make me homophobic because I'm proud to be a heterosexual. You can't make nobody homophobic because just because I am proud of what I am don't make me hate what you are. Period. Period, bruh. You know what I mean? You can't got... Ain't no way to tangle or twist that, bruh. Ain't no way to tangle or twist that. Ain't no hate. Ain't no hate in that, bruh. If I'm proud to be black, that don't make me hate you because you white. If I'm proud to be a man, that don't make me hate you because you a woman. Period. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, the Lil Nas X shit, the performances and video, man, I got a lot of respect for bro because, like I said, he had the courage to live his truth, but that shit ain't for me. It just ain't for me. I ain't got no bit of looking at it. I just can't look at it. It ain't for me, right? But I feel the same way, and I don't want my children seeing it either. I don't want my children seeing it. You know what I mean? Because their minds haven't developed to the place where they can wrap their minds around those type of experience and those types of visual presentations and know how to sort it out within their perception. You dig? But I feel the same way about the WAP video. I actually enjoyed the WAP video a little bit better, but I still feel the same way. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But if you're going to have the WAP video, you're going to damn sure have the Lil Nas X video. And if you're going to have the Lil Nas X video and him living his truth, you're going to damn sure have people like the baby who going to speak their truth. And it ain't nothing wrong with none of it.
Which, of course, everybody's buzzing about it, and that's exactly what Lil Nas X wants, because he has no real talent. He has no real talent, so he has to sit there and keep his buzz going by doing this real controversial stuff. And the more people sit there and come out against it, the more his record label or his people behind the scenes, his A&R, if he got an A&R, his publicist and all that, the more they're sitting there saying, you know what, you got to sit there and put out something else. You got to sit there and do this. You got this coming up. Why don't you put something raunchy in this? Oh, you know what I'm saying? They're pushing him to do that, because as long as he keeps doing that, and the LGBTQ community loves it, and the women that support the LGBTQ community loves it. I'm gonna say it that way because there's really no heterosexual men who are for LGBTQ. I mean, maybe a handful. There maybe a handful, maybe. But the biggest supporters of LGBTQ are the ones who are already in that community and women. All right, so that's really how that goes. So as long as the LGBTQ community loves what he's doing, and the women love what he's doing, and the women are the biggest buyers of music, so as long as that's going on, he'll keep being hot. But until they don't need him no more, and there'll come a time when they don't need him no more, because he's not talented. The songs I hear is straight garbage. I don't even know how he's even considered hip hop, because it's not even really hip hop. It's like he's like kind of singing in the song, but he doesn't even have a singing voice at all. So and the video is goofy. The video is goofy, and it was badly edited because the wording is not going with the music, But it is what it is, right? But apparently, T.I. got a little flack for what he said, and then he made a response video, and of course he has to go through the whole bit of, I have nothing against the LGBTQ community. I have respect for Lil Nas X for being true to who he is, and and this and that. But then he has to sit there and try to acknowledge that he's not for that, while still not trying to step on no toes. And that's where we are. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with this whole LGBTQ thing or whatever. Just like with the Jews, we gotta sit there and carefully word what we say in order to not step on no toes. And I think personally, it's ridiculous. And it's ridiculous being called a homophobe. And what's even more ridiculous is I've seen posts where people would sit there and say, if you don't like, if you're a man, and you don't like, if a trans sexual, or you won't date a transsexual, you're a transphobe or whatever. I'm like, where y'all come up with this stuff? I mean, it's like, seriously, seriously, because I like a real woman with a real pussy. I'm a transphobe. Why in the world, as a heterosexual man, would I want a man who feels they're a woman? Why? When I could actually have an actual woman. Why would I go with a man who thinks they're a woman? I don't get that. And the funniest part about that is, I've even heard from people that are in the LGBTQ community sit there and go against transsexuals. I mean, you have um, um, what shoot, Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker's son is gay, and he made a video sitting there saying, "Well, how is it that you're a man and you think you're a woman, so I should call you a woman?" And I'm like, hold up, I thought I thought you was for that community. I thought y'all banded together. I mean, I don't know, but anyway, he sat there and said that. But it makes no sense. Like, I have more respect for the LGBTQ community than well, the LGBT community. I have more respect for than the trans, and the reason for that is because of the fact that you know you wasn't happy in your skin, and you want me to accept you not being happy in your skin. I don't understand that. You didn't accept yourself, but I must accept you, or whatever. And I like women. You want to be a woman, but then you're mad at me for actually wanting a woman. Then also, I mean, not so much now, but the biggest problem I had back maybe a few years ago is a lot of them will sit there and prance around like they really are women and won't tell you. And then next thing you know, they sit there and it gets revealed, and the man flips, and rightfully so. I'm not saying he should flip to the point of beating the shit out of him, or well, maybe beating the shit out of him because they're still a man, but not killing them. You know what I'm saying? That I'm not condoning that at all. I'm not saying nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying nothing in favor of that. But you cannot sit there and stop a man from getting mad when they want a woman and they thought you was a woman, and you sat there and deceived them. You have every right to get your ass kicked. And because you're still actually a man, it's all fair game. You know what I'm saying? You may think you're a woman, but you're still freaking a man. You was born a man, and I'm gonna beat you like a freaking man. And with that being said, I'm gonna leave y'all. Peace.